Evening, guys. Welcome back to the What Life. We're racing the Zwift Racing League this evening, and it is a bit of a bitter-sweet one for me. I actually raced last night. I would probably not have raced last night if I had known that I was going to be diving in to the Zwift Racing League for my team this evening. We have 8 people on the team, and I wasn't selected in the original 6, but then one person gave up their spot, and I was happy enough to dive in and take it. As a consequence, this is basically what happens. So it's hard to go from a race where we raced last night doing the Zwift Monthly Watopia race, which was fantastic, went really well, I was super happy with it, to come into this race and just like, I feel a bit defeated, I feel a little bit deflated. My heart tells me that like it just wasn't good enough, I wasn't good enough, I wasn't strong enough, but my head is just saying, you know, you did race last night, you've had a lot on, my heart rate just doesn't really get very high, which is just a classic indicator of fatigue. I'm a bit old, guys, you know, I'm 41 years old, no excuse, I should still be able to dog out the watts, but yeah, it's a bit of a conflicting one this evening, but fun nonetheless, and once again, eternally and kind of hugely inspired by everyone who takes part in these races. The Zwift Racing League has just been an absolute another level of cycle racing. And it is great to see. So the Watopia race that I did last night, part of the Watopia series, it was a Cat B race, but it just didn't feel anything like the Zwift monthly races. Just the people that come out of the woodwork to ride these Zwift monthlies, just, you know, as Cat B riders, it's phenomenal. Like, I just like, it is another level. And just when I feel like I'm kind of getting to grips with some of these Cat B races, it just like, I just get my socks knocked off. Wow. Anyway, let's dive into the race itself. So we're doing the Temple and Towers route, which is fundamentally 3 climbs, first across the line and fastest through the section. I think that's what it's called. They're points races, which means nothing to me because all I'm trying to do is cycle my goddamn bike as fast as I can to stay with a group, not even the front group. I'll happily accept any group that I can. And this is quite cool. There are a few moments in this race that I am actually quite proud of. So stick around and watch them because I'll talk you through them. So 100 people taking part, and you know, at the moment we are sitting in I guess the big boy group of just the whole thing. I actually cut little parts out because you guys don't need to watch an hour-long race to be part of it, so I do kind of scooch through to some of the more key points. This is the rooftop KOM, which is 1.9k long and an average of 2.7%. This is the first time my legs get torn off, and I will tell you, not the last. So naturally, the guys at the front kind of just push the pace, and my role here is just to try and hold on and stay with the front group. But ultimately, like I said a second ago, you know, I will accept any group. So my goal is like, you know, if the group looks like it's splitting, I've due to the nature of the quality of rider in the Zwift Racing League in Cat B, I'm more than happy to let the front, you know, 40 riders go, because that's not my, I'm not there yet. I'm not a front 40 rider in a Zwift Racing League race yet. Maybe next year. But I just, you know, kind of, if I go in with a measured approach to it, then I feel like I'll get more out. If I'm completely like, if I try and hold that front group, then I would just kind of fall off my turbo, and my race would be over within the first 10 minutes, and I would just literally wouldn't be able to carry on. But so this was the first KOM, and it feels like it's going reasonably well. I do feel extremely tired, and my heart rate, if you can kind of have a quick look at it, is 160, which just seems low considering that the climb has been like, you know, a couple of minutes, and I should really be pushing, or you know, at least like I am pushing hard on the climb. You look at the little, and I know that people kind of berate me a little bit for the spikes in my watts, and not quite making it as smooth as I should, but I haven't quite got to that point yet. I'm not quite there yet. But anyway, my heart rate doesn't seem to really be going very high. So, you know, classic indicator of more than a little bit of fatigue. So I'm going to take that one on the chin, and that's my kind of analytical head just saying, like, maybe just take it easy for a few days, because I am really kind of working hard, and you can hear me working hard. I just, for some reason, my heart rate's not getting up there, so I think neuromuscularly, I'm just not able to work as hard as I could. So I think this is like the effect of last night. And as I said, guys, I wouldn't have raced extremely hard. And it was a 29-minute race last night. This evening was a 55-minute race. So in all kind of senses, like a slightly longer Cat B race should play to my strengths. But lo and behold, this is Zwift Racing League, and just the quality is just so much higher, or feels a little bit higher. Anyway, this is the point I'm proud of. Now that I've been dropped off of that group, I kind of dive in with this little group here, and you can see I fast forwarded this bit because the thing that I want you to focus on is just that small group ahead of us, and then we've got our little group, and maybe there's 10 or so riders in our group, maybe 10 or so in the group in front. But, both equally kind of sized, which basically means that if ultimately we probably be riding, the same speed due to the size of, the similar size of our groups, and our little chase group just not really be catching them. And that seems to be what is happening. Every now and again, it looks like we are closing on them, but then it basically gets to a point where our group just doesn't look like we are going to close up on them. And it actually looks like they start to kind of move away from us slightly, guys. And this is where, I think I was a little bit of a hero / idiot. And I imagine those two things are incredibly closely related when it comes to cycle racing. But nonetheless, I decide that I'm going to take this into my own hands. Because if that group moves away from us and our little 10-person group is just kind of sat here cycling along, then we're going to miss the whole race. So I'm just throw me your thoughts on this, because I think this is quite brave, and I also think it's exactly the right thing to do, because if you look at them now, they are moving away from us. They're a little bit further away than they were a minute ago. And I just decide that it's basically now or never. If that group moves away and then we're just a 10-person group that kind of sits back. So I clearly put a kick in at the front of the group, and up until now there'd been a few people that one or two people that had kind of tried to move our little group forward, but I just decide that I think from a race perspective, we really need to close this gap. And I think the other guys, and in the chat, you can see me write Sonobi, which is actually me trying to say someone. But because I'm dying in the chat, it doesn't quite, I'm not going to correct my grammar. So I tried to write someone, as in someone give me a goddamn hand. But it actually came out as Sonobi, and obviously no one knew what that meant. But henceforth, if you see me write anything whatsoever whilst we're trying to bridge a group, that basically means help me the hell out. But we do it. And a few guys kind of take that opportunity to come with and push into this bigger group. And personally, I think that was I don't know, it feels like I helped initiate that move, which is actually quite cool. I quite enjoy that kind of stuff. And then obviously now that our two groups are joined, obviously we're just going to move more efficiently and a little bit quicker. But my problem is that I do feel like I did a bit of the legwork on that, the dog work on it. So I was a little bit bullsed by the time that we did manage to make the bridge. But here's the cool thing, guys. Look at my position now, 74th, 75th. Our little group that we're in now is about 30 riders, which takes us down to maybe 40. But then we end up joining up. So in a second, we're gonna kick through to catching the group that's in front of us again, and then that's a completely another group of even more riders. So basically, right from 75th, we end up joining with a group that's just in front there that takes us all the way down to maybe position 20th. Or even, I imagine there might be a little group off the front, but that could even be the front group, because we managed to then join up. So interestingly, I just thought this was quite cool, because ultimately we ended up in group 3, and then we join up after a little bit of a bridge session and a bit of hard work. We get to group 2, and then as group 2, we're able to move quicker and effectively join this group, which might even be the front group, because I'm looking on the mini map and it doesn't look like there's another group ahead of them. So this might take us all the way up. If we'd had the our gummy juice this morning and we rode to the front of this group, I don't know, might you be sitting at first? Have we joined the front group? It kind of on the mini map, it doesn't look like there's anyone ahead of us. So perhaps this takes us all the way back. So that was like a really cool moment. Obviously, it didn't last too long, guys, because I'm not going to show you the whole race. Again, it was 55 minutes long. But this is the second climb, which is the Castle KOM 2.7K, average 2.1%. Is it average 2.1%? But ultimately, my big mistake on this was not knowing the route. I thought that the climb was just the first half of the climb. So obviously, effectively, this is a bit of a two-part climb, because you cycle up and then you hook a big left-hander, and then you go up a little bit further. I didn't quite realize that. I thought that once we had got to the top of this hill, so I rode this really hard. And again, guys, look, I mean, keeping an eye on my heart rate, I'm at 160 and I am working my arse off. So I do feel like fatigue is definitely a factor, because I'm dogging hard. I'm putting the effort in. Like, my heart rate is just not going up. So I don't want to bang on about it, but yeah, Max, take a little time off, chill out a little bit. But still, like, so basically, I really was like trying to hold this group now that we had caught them up, and ultimately, I think this is the thing that just, like, obviously, I'm not quite, of a standard that can hold front groups just yet. But I feel like my heart is there, just my body's not quite willing just yet. So I actually thought that once we got to this point, basically, that we were at the top of the climb. Lo and behold, I don't think we were, or obviously we weren't. So I felt like I rode that bit quite well, quite hard. Like, I was like feeling like, oh, if that is the top. But then we hook this left-hander here and continue back up again, and that's basically when my heart sinks, and I'm like, oh crap, I've completely balls this up, because here you can just see me coming off the watts and I can't hold it again, but my heart rate's only sitting at 162. I'm just like, I can't hold that. I realized my mistake. I realized we take that left-hander and then we're up there. Anyway, that's that, guys. I'm going to skip all the way through to the Temple KOM 1.9K, 3.5% average. Is that what it is? And this is a tough climb for me. The thing that I liked about it was, or the sad thing about it, is the fact that I did the entire climb with this like maybe 4 or 5 person group, and I thought I'd throw this in here because, again, it's like the same thing. I just get to the top of the climb, and I can, on the mini map, I see the arch, and I'm like, oh, that is the top. I just like, I'm upset with myself for this one, because if I'd held some wheels here, if I'd just been like sucking a bit of rubber, get up a little bit, if I'd worked a little bit harder here to hold that little 3 group wheels, then I feel like it would have made the kind of descent and the kind of ride in back to the finish just a bit easier with a kind of small 4 or 5 person crew. But I just like, I fall off at like the last, well, I'm agonizingly close to the descent here, and I can't hold it. You can see my watts down the bottom have come off completely. I just couldn't hold it, and that kind of like took like a bit of the it was a bit of a hit to the heart, that one, because I was like, I thought I had that. I rode the whole thing with the group until that point. The only other thing that I think is quite cool, that I am quite proud of, again, is that I have started trying to put little sprints in towards the finish. I'm not very good at sprinting because I have never practiced it till now, because I've always been too like balls to be able to put one in. But what I am realizing with the sprint is that you should trust your own sprint, because I should have gone now. I should have hit my power up and gone now. But instead I just kind of leave it, because I was happy to kind of race it against the 2 guys that I'm cycling in with. I leave my sprint to like 100 feet from the finish, and then put a little effort in. So guys, that's it for this evening. Thanks for joining. I will see you on the next one.